You always hear everybody, I spend too much time on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glued to my phone all day. People are comparing themselves to the
Everybody else.
extremely good-looking influencers that are out there.
Like Shawn Ryan.
Yeah, and and everything, looks, money, happiness. I personally think everything on social media is bullshit and fake, but a lot of people think the shit's real.
Yeah.
So let's dive in there. Let's go into social media.
I earlier on when you were rattling off some of those statistics, so many of those things go back to 2013, 2012, 2014. So there's a growing body of evidence that says we can't tease apart the exact mechanism by which social media is hurting us. What we can do is say, up until 2010, 2011, 2012, people were plugging along, and then all of a sudden there's a swan dive of mental health. And that's when these things came online in a mass way, right? They were fumbling around for the decade or two before that, but this is when everybody started walking around with a smartphone. Everybody was on these services and things like that. I tend to take a broader view, step back 30,000 feet, and look at the whole situation. And what I know is our bodies, our human, like the machine that we walk around in, is co-regulated. You and I sit here long enough, and our breathing will start to sync up a little bit. We will become, like our bodies are designed for that. We're designed to be in tribes of groups of people towards a common purpose. That's what we do. And in short order, we outsourced all interactions to these boxes, to these platforms, to a very unnatural state of being for ourselves. You could not talk to somebody without being in the room with them, right? From all human history until right now.
Yeah.
And then think how many conversations we have with other people in our head, but we never utter words. And our bodies are paying a price. And so the way I like to make it, to distill it all down into simple language, I can text my wife all day long, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm giving her frontal lobe data. I'm not giving her body the sense that she is safe and loved. 70, 80, 90% of communication is nonverbal. We've stripped all that out and we've just said, when will you be where? I'll be there. That's a one part of your brain processes that data. The other part of the body is like, we're not connected, we're not connected, we're not connected. And when your body finds itself alone, lonely, by yourself, or think about it, if you, as a SEAL, you land and you turn left and you start running down a mile and you turn back and realize your team went right, you're probably not going to make it out, right? Or you're going to have to do some, right? 10,000 years ago, you wake up in the morning, your tribe has left you, you're probably going to die of exposure. You're going to get eaten by something, you're going to run out of water. So our bodies are designed to be in connection, and if it's out of connection, it will sound the alarms. And that's what anxiety is. That's what OCD is. Those are our alarm systems going off. And now we've created an entire industry to shut the alarms off, to quiet the alarms. That's like, man, if your house is on fire and your smoke alarm's going off, if you get a ladder and climb up and pull the batteries out, you stop the alarm, man. Congratulations. Your house is still on fire, right?
Yeah.
And so I think overnight, we have changed the way we interact, and our bodies are rattling at the seams. And so then you throw in all of the photos and the, you and I were going to school when we were kids, someone would say, like, you suck. 2 weeks later, I could edge that off. Now I got on my phone, I can just read it over and over and over, or I can see 14 people who thumbs up it, and 10 of them are trolls I don't even know, but it starts to feel like the whole world's, right?
Yeah.
And these machines are curating what they give me, right? And they're based off that slot machine technology where I'm going to hold what he said, I'm going to hold it, I'll give it to you now. I'll hold it, I'll give it to you now. And so, dude, it's just hack the system, man. And so I really care less about the individual mechanics. I'll leave that to my academic colleagues to, it's this or this. What I know is it's killing us, and I've got to be intentional about making other paths in my life. Right?
What about, I mean, there's just so much that goes into social media that I think is toxic, and
It's insanity.
Yeah.
It's insanity. Here's how insane it is. I do this for a living. I had no social media before I took this current job. None. So I didn't have social media until 2020, right?
You haven't had anything
Zero.
since 2020?
None. And then I got on it. And then about 6 or 7 or 8 months in, I was in my closet, in my bedroom, while my kids were banging around outside, scrolling Instagram.
Oh, wow.
And I've taught about it. I know the neuroscience about it. I've met with professionals all over the country, from Harvard to little faith-based university. Like, I've been everywhere. I know. And I remember looking up and I started laughing. I was like, it got me. Like, here I am hiding from my family because this little box was making me feel better about who I am than they were. Because you know what I don't know how to do? I don't know how to parent a 6-year-old girl. That's what I got. I'm learning as I go. I got a 12-year-old son, and I got a lot of built-in stuff here, and he's facing a different world than I face, right? So, but man, that social media just keeps telling me, you're doing great, you're doing great, you're doing great. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it got me too. And that's when I realized they're good. They're good.
Yeah. I mean, on the contrary, though, you can be not great. You know, it's not always reinforcing that you're great. I mean, you got the smear campaigns. I mean, I went through my own smear campaign.
What'd they do?
It's a long story, and yeah, I don't want to go into it, but it was a couple of years ago, and there was a tiff with another person that I had collaborated with, and he'd started this big social media campaign. And I mean, and the only reason I'm bringing that up is because that affected me. And I'm a at the time, mid-30s, late 30s, SEAL, former SEAL, former CIA guy, had seen it all, I thought, in this stupid-ass social media campaign that lasted for about 6 months is ruining my day. Yes. And I felt like the walls were closing in on me. You know, it did. It brought a lot of stress. Yep. And
it's those little pirate boats, though, right?
Yeah.
It's not a big ship coming because we know how to handle that.
Yeah.
We know how to handle a frontal assault. It's those 14 single-engine boats that are coming and just filling the bottom of the hull up with bullets and then taking off, right? And so slowly they can take over the whole ship. Just with a few boats, man. And you don't see it's hard to see it coming.
Well, I mean, I guess where I'm going is I think this is creating a lot of. I mean, I can handle it. Mm-hmm. You know, it was stressful, but I can handle it. But you know, a 14-year-old girl who exposed herself to somebody online in confidence, and now that photo's gone viral, and then that young girl kills herself because she's humiliated. Right. In social media today, people are like, just get off your phone. It's not that. No, it's not that easy. You know, I mean, my business, for example, is run off social media.
Mine is too, right? And that's the paradox I find myself in is, it pays my bills, right? And I have to be honest about it's doing good. It's connecting people. It's a GPS. It's pointing people to the right place, right? Yeah. And it's encouraging people. Here's a way to walk through life. Here's some stories. Here's some different people who are lighthouses in a world of smoke. Okay, when I go home with my family, I can do something a little bit different, right? Here's a way to have a different conversation. I never had that thought before. I'm gonna go take that thought and with the 5 guys I meet with once a week that we have breakfast with and just talk crap, and I'm gonna bring this thought up there, right? So it's taking this stuff out of the imaginary world and putting it into the real world. There has to be some sort of balance there, and I think we're figuring it out as we go. I also think, and this is I didn't realize this is a controversial statement. I grew up around guns. I grew up around them, right? Like I said, my dad was a homicide guy and a SWAT guy. Like they were just and they were so everywhere that I understood at a tiny age the respect you have for them and the tools and it never occurred to me to play with, right? Because I was so ingrained and taught. I've passed that along to my 12-year-old son, and a lesser extent to my 6-year-old daughter, right? They're going to know what this is, and I'm not ever going to leave it out because he's 12. In that same way, I'm an adult and I know how the social media works, and I know that there's neuroscientists teamed up with AI, teamed up with people trying to make money, which that's their job. Good for them. It's my job as a parent to protect the mind of my 12-year-old and my 6-year-old. Yeah. And so I'm not going to I'm not going to hand them a loaded gun and say, make good choices, because they're 12, right? Yeah. I'm not going to hand them a cell phone that you don't understand the predatory nature of this thing.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.